Our society is becoming increasingly more diverse, and people with physical disabilities are part of that diversity. At Bush Hill School, students are getting a head start on learning to work together with people who have physical disabilities. By using the one school concept, general education students from Bush Hill Elementary and physically disabled and autistic students from Bush Hill Center are incorporated into a single population. By integrating both the staff, students, and the curriculum, Bush Hill School is combining forces to create a better place for learning. Tucked away in a quiet neighborhood in the southeastern part of Fairfax County, something special is taking place. Bush Hill Elementary School and Bush Hill Center are joining together to create an environment where every student is accepted and encouraged to achieve their full potential. Mainstreaming special education students into the general education population is not a new idea. However, at Bush Hill School, mainstreaming isn't just a part-time concept limited to physical education, music, and art. It's an all-day, everyday way of life. Students with a variety of limitations and talents blend together to make a one-of-a-kind student population.
Bush Hill School is a very unique school in that we serve a population consisting of general education students as well as physically disabled students and autistic students. What makes the school unique is the way in which we integrate all of these students into our total instructional program. We feel that when children come through our doors that they are here to learn, and it's our responsibility to make sure that every child, regardless of his or her handicapping condition, can and will learn to the degree possible.
With a general education population of about 260 students and a center population of almost 50 special education students, Bush Hill is currently one of the smallest schools in Fairfax County. The school was built in 1951, and classes for students with physical disabilities, or PD students, began in 1972. 6 years later, a separate wing was constructed to house the center students. Recently, however, both the center staff and the general education staff have made an effort to integrate their students throughout the school.
Last year, we worked together to take the physical environment that was designed for separation to combine it so that we have students with autism and PD students all over the school at all different times of the day. And Mr. Davis and the support staff and I worked very hard, and the teachers last spring and this summer, to keep moving and planning from room to room and moving areas so that we could best serve the needs of every student and every teacher.
Bush Hill blends its center students into the general education population in two different ways, through integration and academic mainstreaming.
Academic mainstreaming may be appropriate for a student who is functioning on grade level and is able to do all tasks that general education students can do. We do have several situations in the school where that is occurring. We may have some students who are ready to work in a general education classroom in one or more or maybe two subject areas, and then they would return to their center classroom for the remainder of the curriculum. The integration also takes into account the way that all of the children are integrated into the lunch program, for example, into the music classes. You saw physically disabled students having physical education with general education students. So all non-academic areas, we try to make sure that center students are totally integrated.
This idea of integrating special education and general education students into a single student body is called the one school concept. Within this concept, integration is not restricted to the students. Faculty, staff, and administrators of both schools are integrated as well, using a strategy known as teaming.
The teaming approach among general education and special education teachers is totally unaffected at this school. Basically, general education teachers and special education teachers look at the students at their particular grade level. They look at units that they can divide and that they can teach, and they reduce the pupil-teacher ratio by, for example, having the special education teacher work with not only his or her students, but also with general education students.
Teaming takes place at all grade levels.
The teaming that we do at Bush Hill in the second grade includes having a physically disabled teacher, another second grade teacher, and myself, where we divided students up for the subject of science, social studies, and health. And as a result, students were grouped, and some benefits of that grouping were that it reduced the number of students in a particular class at a time, and it also facilitated the integration of students with physical disabilities with general education students.
In this second grade class, general education students joined the class of a center teacher for a lesson in science.
Amphibians, unlike some of the other different animal groups that we've talked about, lead a double life. Their eggs are laid in water, and they spend the first part of their life in water. Young amphibians.
The students are going to get a brief amount of information about amphibians, which is one of the many different animal groups that we've been studying for the past several weeks. We'll participate in a KWL activity where they'll communicate what they know and what they would like to learn about frogs and toads. Then we'll focus in on the life cycle of tadpoles with some tadpoles which were obtained from a local pond. And the students will each have their own tadpole, and in groups of 3. One student will be the observer, one student will be doing some written recording, and one student will be drawing a picture to identify where the tadpole is in its growth in the life cycle. And then to culminate the activity, they will share their observations of their tadpoles.
What about week 3? Does anybody have a tadpole they think is about 3 weeks old? Jessica, what makes you think yours is 3 weeks old?
Teaming benefits both teachers and students. Teachers are given the opportunity to work with students of different abilities and are able to become experts in each area of the curriculum. For students, it is another occasion to work together.
Some of the benefits for the physically disabled students who are integrated into the subject areas are that they get a chance to make friends in the general education population, learn to practice social skills in those groups. And on the other side, the benefits for the general education students include learning to appreciate students with individual differences and making friends with them also.
The teaming approach works at Bush Hill because the entire staff from both schools are involved, and the integration of people makes the integration of the curriculum much easier.
It's very unique because all the staff is integrated. The students are integrated and mainstreamed, the parents, the teachers, the support staff, the therapists, everyone works together and no one is isolated at all. And it's a constant communication and working out schedules and systems of delivery of instruction to students. It totally goes along with the integrated curriculum. All of the curriculum is integrated in the school. Our integration of people helps to integrate the curriculum across the board so that the teachers who are integrating students are integrating the curriculum at the same time all day long.
One area of the curriculum in particular is easily combined with other lessons. At Bush Hill, language arts have been integrated throughout the curriculum with great success.
The integrated language arts program is a more natural way of teaching reading and writing. It teaches reading and writing as a process rather than separated, isolated skills.
Through the Integrated Language Arts program, reading and writing skills are combined with other parts of the curriculum. Students read trade books in science and keep journals about their progress in math. In first grade, students were studying communities as part of a social studies unit. First, they read a book about houses, discussed how houses are built, and then did a hands-on activity that reinforced the lesson.
Now, we've been reading a story about this is the house that Jack built, all right? And we've also talked about this book with many different kinds of houses in it.
The activity we're doing today is taken from a story called The House That Jack Built, from a big book and from Story in the Journey series. Mr. Sanderson is coming in, a parent from the community, and he's going to show the children how a home is actually built only from scale. And the children we're going to first do a web of the plans and the tools and the equipment you'd need to build a home.
Now, if you have any ideas what we need to build a house, let's start with the tools first. Let's do the tools. All right, Lee, what do you think?
Drill.
A drill.
This project stemmed from a language arts activity that the class has been doing since the beginning of the year. The first graders became pen pals with students from Union Mill Elementary. Located in the western part of Fairfax County, Union Mill and the surrounding neighborhood is newer and therefore quite different from Bush Hill.
So we had a lot of activities where the children could compare, the two neighborhoods. And then we went on into the reading series, and it's a story called The House That Jack Built. It's a nursery rhyme. And then after that, there is a little story about actually building a house. And so the parent in my class, Mr. Sanderson, is a carpenter. And we thought it would be kind of fun if the children, after doing all this with comparing houses and neighborhoods, if they could actually build a house. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to build a house to scale. It'll be a rambler, more like what you see here in our neighborhood than what you would see in Union Mill.
As Mr. Sanderson showed the students the tools needed to build houses, they discovered that all of their lessons have practical applications.
Fractions.
We're learning about fractions.
That's good. Because you have to know math and fractions in order to build a house. That is a very important thing.
The students then got to work building their house. Mr. Sanderson provided pieces of wood that had been pre-cut to scale and templates on which the students could glue the wood to form the floor, walls, and rafters of the house.
You glue it right to the paper, okay, and then you glue the wood to each other. Put the right pieces in the right place. So when we're all finished, if you notice, we have little cutouts. This is the front of the house. We have 2 windows and a door. So when we're all finished, what we're going to have on this side is a skeleton frame, which is called framing a house. But when we set it up, we also have the drywall on the inside.
After the glue had dried, Mr. Sanderson returned to help the students put on the roof and siding. Through this activity, students incorporated many lessons into one fun project. Making learning fun is an important part of the teaching process at Bush Hill. In the 4th grade, for instance, teachers teamed up to provide their students with an entertaining way to test their knowledge of Virginia history.
We decided to do a Jeopardy game as a culminating activity for the students when they had reached the point of the end of the Revolutionary War in their study of the state of Virginia. There are some students who will do very, very well in a written test, but there are other students who will know the information but not be able to successfully give it back to us in a written test. So this seemed a good way for the children to have fun and also to be able to check what some of them had learned that were not able to show us in written work.
Famous names for 800.
Alrighty. He was a minister who joined Washington's army.
Peter Muhlenberg.
Say that again, please.
Who is Peter Muhlenberg?
That is correct. Great team.
In another example of teaming and integration, students and teachers from both the general education and center programs joined together to develop the Jeopardy game. The students worked cooperatively to create the questions and answers about Virginia.
We did some collaborative work where the students worked together to create their Jeopardy statements and questions themselves. And then the teachers got together and put them in a little bit more workable form. And then we started introducing the Jeopardy game probably 3 weeks ago. They have done this, practiced probably 4 to 5 times. And each time it was very interesting to see the level of information that they were retaining was definitely increasing.
These mountains are named for how they appear from a distance. Red team.
What are the Blue Ridge Mountains?
That is correct. Pick category, red team.
The host was the son of one of our teaching assistants at this school who has done this with Boy Scouts also. And he really enjoys doing it, and he volunteered to come. And that was a way of bringing someone else from the community into our school to work with the students also.
The success of this game was the result of the cooperative effort by everyone involved. This team effort is apparent in another activity at Bush Hill. Every day, students can tune in to the morning news show seen throughout the school on WBHS.
Good morning, Bush Hill students and staff.
May we have your attention, please, for the morning announcements. The time is now 9:10.
My name is David Dudley.
My name is Ellery Guest. And my name is Erica Vogt. Today is Tuesday, May 14th.
Our morning news program serves as an informational broadcast for the students. We do a variety of different news on the morning broadcast. For example, we always inform the children about the lunch menu for the day, any special current events which have occurred the previous night. Our news broadcast is run by the students and sponsored by Mrs. Taylor. And they get totally involved in the program in that the students are very concerned that the program is informative for other students and that it's going to be meaningful for them.
Erica Vogt has an important insight on our recent Arbor Day celebration. As you know, we recently celebrated Arbor Day at our school. What you may not know is why this is an important ongoing celebration for us. A former student of our physically disabled center, Scott David Jarrett, a first grader, died of muscular dystrophy on December 31st, 1987. In his memory...
The morning news at Bush Hill School supports the overall mission of Bush Hill Elementary School, which is to promote a strong academic program by helping each student develop his or her full potential through a curriculum which integrates various subject areas and experiences.
WBHS is staffed by 6th graders. Any 6th grader who wishes to participate can work on the morning news show. Students rotate among the different positions both behind and in front of the cameras and eventually find the jobs best suited for them. Permanent positions on WBHS are limited to 6th graders in order to extend the leadership roles of the older students.
All right, and the lunch menu.
Who does tomorrow's lunch menu?
Okay, why don't you just read that one. Remember on the sheet?
All right, so I'll do that and then...
And Mrs. Krebs about the cafeteria.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that and then Erica does this.
Okay.
And where does the announcement go?
Near the end of the year, 5th graders began working on the news program in order to prepare for next year. While the older students serve as permanent crew members, anyone in the school can appear as a guest.
We will have students who will come to us and ask if they could share poetry that they've written in the classroom, book reviews, or biographies. Just this morning, we had 2 students to share biographies that they had researched and read where they dressed up like the men they had researched.
When I was 10, my father told me to quit school and work for him. I had to make candles and soap. I didn't like it. My father told me I had to do something. I became an apprentice to my brother James in his printing shop.
I think it helps a child's self-esteem because they have seen others participate in the morning news program, and they say to themselves, well, I could do that too. And they will come to us, or the teacher will realize that that student is interested or that student is doing a project that is worthwhile. And the student will be on the news program and will come to me many times afterwards, or to Mrs. Taylor, and say how much they enjoyed being on the program and may I be on again? And of course we always say certainly.
Being responsible for a daily news program and sharing the work with schoolmates is a good way to enhance self-esteem and build confidence. Any kind of performance can be a confidence-building experience. At Bush Hill, the annual musical is a school-wide effort that involves lessons learned in the classroom and the music room.
The school-wide musical is a tradition here at Bush Hill, allowing each child a chance to perform with his or her class. In the past, I've always chosen a theme, and based upon the theme, each class, I choose a song or an activity for them to do. Many times I'll discuss the activities that I have in mind with the classroom teacher and see if there's something that we can work on together to arrive at that. So every child in the school will have a part, will participate in this musical.
The Integrated Language Arts program also plays an important part in the musical.
This year's theme is Life is an Adventure. So some classes are telling simple stories like the Three Bears or the Gingerbread Boy, which can be integrated with language arts.
Good listening. Once upon a time, there were 3 bears who lived together in a house of their own in the woods. One was the wee little bear. One was the middle-sized bear. And the other one was the great big bear. They each had their very own. The story we read went along with the song. The song is very much like the story. Although the children are very familiar with that book, it's still one of their favorites, and they love to hear it over and over.
In addition to language arts activities, preparations for the musical also include art projects.
The masks that they're going to make are going to be for the program. They will wear them that night when they perform for the parents, but they can also keep the mask and use them in center time in the housekeeping corner to again reenact the story of the 3 bears.
One day they were walking through the sea, stopping when along came a pretty girl with pretty hair, and her name was Goldilocks, and the farms adored she had. No one was there, no one was there, so she walked right in and she had a boat.
As a music teacher, I think an important part of what I do is allowing children to have the chance to perform, to show off what they do. And as a school-wide function, then not only are they performing, but they're pulling together as a whole school and feeling involved that it's something that every person is going to be doing.
This total environment of everyone in the school is the cornerstone of success at Bush Hill. Working together on a day-to-day basis is helping both general education students and students with physical disabilities and autism expand their experiences with various types of people. It is the ability to accept differences in people and adapt to changing situations that make successful adults. Bush Hill offers an exciting opportunity for students to experience the real world on a small yet nurturing basis.
I think it's a benefit for both physically disabled and general ed students to be together.
the world isn't totally able-bodied, and I think that the children from both ends of the building, both the school and the center, need to learn to know one another and to understand one another. And as the parent of a general ed student, I think it's important that the children in the general ed wing get to know the handicapped children, the disabled children, as people, not simply as someone in a wheelchair or in a helmet. And I think that this school really tries to do that.
Lessons learned both in and out of the classroom stay with students for the rest of their lives. The staff at Bush Hill School hopes that they have given their students the skills they need to become responsible and productive adults.
Because we are a small school, I feel that each child has a tremendous opportunity to be actively involved not only in the instructional program but extracurricular activities as well. I hope also that the students would remember the caring staff that was part of their education at Bush Hill, the little things that staff members did for them, and the little things that we did to help them along the way so that they would grow into fine, responsible adults.
They remember a school where everyone's accepted, everyone is expected, everyone has his or her strengths and areas to focus on. They remember it as a place where they are accepted and they will work on their strengths and try to get better every day in every academic, social, and life skill area. And they feel warm about Bush Hill. They feel accepted into society. And then they build the inner strength and the self-esteem to go forth in society and face some of the challenges they're going to be facing.